Yeah, so that's why I actually had to stop being a belly dancer for that time. So, hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Laugh and Be Blessed with your hosts, Jake and Chia Rubel. Hopefully you liked our new intro. I did hear from Michael Rubadow, and I did pronounce his name correctly, and then I forgot how I pronounced it last time. I know it's Rub. I just can't remember if it's Rubadoo or Rubadow.
Rubadoo.
I think it's Rubadoo.
I feel like you need to say it like sing-songy.
Like, Rubadooski.
Then you'll remember it.
Me and my boy Michael
I
Rubadooski.
can get people to remember my name because I have a song that goes with it, so...
That's true.
Yeah.
And then people remember my name because it goes along with
every other Jake.
Brett Michaels' theme song, his opening intro song for whenever he was a member of WWF.
What?
I'm just a sexy boy. I'm not
Brett
your
Michaels?
boy toys. I said Shawn Michaels.
No, you did not.
I said Shawn Michaels.
Where you did not.
No, the problem is I didn't. And I should, and I have the power. I have the power to go back and edit it out, and I'm not gonna.
I was like...
You looked at me real weird, and I was like, why is she looking at me as if she knows anything about wrestling?
I thought maybe he did a guest spot on it or something.
No, but fun fact, they're almost the same person.
Are they?
Yeah, I'll show you a picture. So here is a picture of you remember what Brett Michaels looks like.
I watch Rock of Love. I also know who Poison is, but I watch
So
Rock of Love.
here's a picture. Here's a picture of Shawn Michaels. I'm really, and I don't know why.
If you're listening, look this up with us.
I don't know why.
I don't think they're the same person.
Cowboy hat, long hair. Obviously has lived in trailers more than most people.
Any makeup?
Well, no, but that's
bling.
Look at him. That's not.
No, that's
Look.
Okay, maybe there.
I'm telling you.
Maybe
yeah,
there.
you just keep looking.
Just keep looking at this
Just
guy.
keep looking. Look at The Rock. Look what The Rock looked like whenever he first started wrestling.
Yeah.
It was a fun get-up. I've been really into wrestling lately, and I've never been into it my entire life.
Yeah.
Never one time.
Yeah.
Well, I say that. Whenever my dad remarried, there was a very small amount of time that while my stepbrothers lived with us, they were obsessed with wrestling, loved it, so I would watch wrestling with them.
Yeah.
And it was whenever The Rock was like really, really big, like at the peak, like The Rock and Stone Cold whole thing, like right around at that time. So it was probably, arguably, like one of the best times to watch wrestling.
Okay.
But then shortly after, I was like, yeah, I'm done with this. And then Stephen Porter recently gave me 2 different documentaries to watch. And
You can say your friend's last name, but I can't say my friend's last name.
Yeah, no one's going after Stevie P. Who's going to go after Stevie P?
I don't know.
Who?
I don't know. I'm just saying.
You think people are just going to go get him?
Maybe.
He said that you give him more belly laughs than I give him. And I took that as a direct hit.
I take that as a compliment.
You should take it as a compliment, but
do.
I take it as an anti-compliment to me.
I love belly laughs.
So anyways, thanks to Steve, Roman watched the first documentary that he gave me.
That's all we need.
So now Roman's really into it.
Okay.
So we've been watching wrestling. You have to call it WWE now. Did you know that?
I know.
And
You probably shouldn't call it the other thing on here because...
Were they going to sue me? They're going to come sue me?
I don't know.
They don't know nothing about me.
I don't know. Because it used to be called WW, and then it also had like an F at the end. And apparently that's a big deal.
Yeah. They should have named it the World's Training Federation. Or Wrestling's Trademark Federation. So it could be WTF.
They didn't know what that was then.
They should have. Because whenever I found out that you couldn't say it anymore and you had to call it WWE, I was like WTF.
WTF.
I was like WTF. I was like, what the... Got some shows coming up, everybody. How about that?
Yeah.
I have some shows coming up, some fun shows I'm excited about. So, March... I can't read my own handwriting. It's got to be 18th. I thought it said the 8th, but today's the 8th. So March 18th, which is a Thursday night, I'm going to be doing some new material at the Comedy Attic in Bloomington, Indiana.
Yay!
So I'm excited about that. So come come check that out. Come watch me do some new material at the Comedy Attic. And then March 26th, I will be at Gutty's Comedy Club in Greenwood, Indiana, doing the Stand Up for Sobriety show. Mm-hmm. The next day, which is March 27th, I will be in Evansville at Carson's Brewery doing some time there. Doing some time. It's like me and my dad both say that we're doing time. Me doing time on a mic and Dad going to prison. My dad's never really been to jail, I don't think.
It's not crazy. He's always evaded.
Yeah, no, he went to jail once. Because him and Hein Miller, which is my godfather, R.I.P. baby, one of the greatest guys I've ever known in my entire life.
I'm sad I didn't meet him.
Yeah, you would have loved him. He was a fantastic gentleman.
Would he have liked me, though?
Yeah, he would have been very, very, very happy that we ended up together. Guy had a heart of gold. It was cool because he was my parents' both of their best friend before they were together, and he's the one that kind of got them hooked up. So anyways, Hein Miller and Dad were very intoxicated one evening and had to go to town.
As one does.
Sure. But you can't just drive to town, Chia.
No, that's
You got to be responsible.
Yes, I agree.
So they souped up a lawnmower and drove it to town.
That makes sense.
So they had a souped up lawnmower, I guess, and drove it to town with one of them working, staring at everything, and the other one was sitting on the hood of it. And Dad said that they souped it up in a way to where, and it had not a lawnmower engine in it, I guess. The engine
I'm
that was in
guessing
it.
that's what souped up meant.
And I don't know exactly. I never seen pictures. This is a story my dad told me, but, and you know Dad. So supposedly they were going fast enough that they were going over the speed limit on a lawnmower. Exactly. Okay. And got pulled over and had to spend the night in jail because of it. Because since technically the lawnmower did not have a lawnmower engine in it, he says. But then I'm like, that doesn't make any sense, so you had a transmission on it?
Yeah.
I don't know. My dad's a liar. He belonged in jail. He probably got pulled over for just driving a normal lawnmower, but thought the story sucked.
Right.
And was just I don't want to tell people this.
It would still be a funny story, so.
I guess. He also told me never mind. The other one I was going to say he could go to prison for.
Oh, okay.
Legit, so I'm not going to say that one just in case.
Shut.
Yeah, I ain't no snitch. I ain't no snitch.
They taught you that in middle school.
Did they?
With Dare.
No, that was elementary school.
Oh, that was elementary.
Yeah, and they taught me how to be a snitch.
Middle school.
No, Dare taught you how to be a snitch.
Yeah.
I don't know how hip everybody is, but the Dare program was basically a way for kids to snitch on their parents.
Yeah.
Like, they would just have cops come in, and they would pretend to put on a show, an anti-drug show. That was like...
They cared.
Yeah, okay, let's continue. Because the show would basically be like, here's what really happens when you do drugs, kids. And I'm like, that's not accurate. I'm in like 3rd grade. And I'm going, My dad's high right now and at work. So I think it's okay.
It's not.
And, okay.
I mean, we're talking about drugs in a broad spectrum here.
Yeah. We are.
Yes.
But I think it's okay for me to say weed.
Yes.
Okay.
You can specify.
Okay, so my dad's smoking weed. My dad never really got into other drugs. Like he did acid, he did acid and shrooms and stuff, but he hated speed. Mm-hmm. He never wanted to do anything like that. He despised pills. And in fact, one of the times that me and my dad got in a fist fight was because he found out I was taking pills.
Oh.
And he was just basically like, I give you all the free weed you could ever want. Why would you have to get high on something else? And I was like, you're right. You know what? You're right. You're right. So I still did pills for a long time after. But no, the DARE program, yeah, they would come in. They do a presentation where there was basically like all the dangers of drugs, which some of it's pretty true. But every time they would do like the weed stuff, it was ridiculous to him. I'm like, this is not accurate at all. This is not what potheads do. Mm-hmm. They would just show those old videos of like, this is what...
Reefer Madness?
Yeah, just dumb stuff. And I don't know if they showed Reefer Madness, but I feel like it was always the dumbest stuff. Yeah. Like, this is what could really happen. And they always called people Mac. I remember that. They'd be like, hey, why don't you try smoke some of this weed, Mac? I remember that specifically. Yeah, but then they would, after they were done with the presentation, they would just go around from kid to kid and ask questions to try to get us to snitch on our parents. They'd just go to each desk and they would just be like, is there a time that you're ever at home and your mom and dad is smoking something that's maybe green and smells like a skunk? And I'm like, it kind of depends on who they get their stuff from, bro. Like, sometimes it smells like a skunk, sometimes it doesn't. I don't know. So that was the story of how I snitched on my parents. That was the first. The first joke I ever did at an open mic. It was the first story. Yeah, it was the first story I ever told. Was whenever I
homeschooled in elementary, so.
So your mom was DARE programmed by herself. You're just like, I'm not doing drugs. I don't want to end up like that.
Mom was like, this is what happened when I did drugs. Yeah. And I'm like, oh God.
Dude, your mom has told me some killer stories about when she was on acid. Man, talking about. And
I love when she talks about acid because then she always has to bring up what they have now. That's not the real stuff, and I'm like, I'm sorry, Mom.
Like she always seems like it's our fault.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's mad at us.
This generation, they've ruined the acid.
The thing that gets me is that whenever she talks to me about it, it's almost like she's like, you should do it. Like, and she's just this old little church lady who you would never think was like that. But every now and then, like, we'll get on the subject and she'll just be like, oh, Jake, this one time. And then she'll, like, tell me a story about, like, a train coming out of the sky and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, Kim, that sounds legit. And she's like, it was. And I'm like, man, I kind of want to do some acid right now.
Oh, my God.
My brain couldn't handle it.
No.
I would be one of those people that would feel like if I took acid, I think.
You think it would fry your brain and you stay in that mind frame all the time?
There was one of the reasons, so I have done hallucinogenics before, but I never got down on acid because I was scared to.
Good.
I never did acid or heroin because they terrified me, but pretty much everything else I did. Everything else that was like a normal drug. Like I never did all this crazy stuff that people are doing now. You know what I mean?
You sound so old.
No, I'm saying... Look, hey, back in the day, whenever I used to do drugs, it was so different. You know, the kids nowadays, they got all these... They got these hoppers and these donuts and these you know, what do they call them? Donuts?
We just had dope.
I don't know. Yeah, we just had good old-fashioned dope. Your cousins would grow it.
I want to hear your story, but your mom, or probably your mom too, but my mom and your dad still call all drugs dope.
Yeah, it's all dope.
It's all dope.
I was going to say that, but I didn't want to because Dusty Slay's last podcast, for anyone who doesn't listen to Dusty Slay's podcast, you should check it out. It's called We're Having a Good Time, and it's probably my favorite podcast. He was talking about how his dad...
Nuh-uh.
Yeah, his dad calls all drugs dope.
What?
Maybe it wasn't his podcast. Maybe it was a YouTube video. Either way, go find him and listen to him. He's amazing.
So it's just something that generation does.
Yeah, everything's dope. It's all dope. Which I actually call... I always called meth dope. That was dope to me.
Okay.
Like whenever I would talk about dope, it was meth.
I don't know what I thought dope was. I was very
Anyways,
confused.
what was the story I was going with? Remember whenever I was going to do it and you're like, wait.
Rewind.
No, I want you to tell me. I don't want to do all that nonsense.
No, I'm like saying like in our brains. Pause, rewind.
Yeah.
What's that thing about?
And I started doing this because you were like, no, okay, yeah. So anyways, so I never did acid. I never did acid or anything like that. But I don't remember what I was going to say about it. I was scared.
Yeah.
Because people would always, like, in the crowd that I ran around. Are you
high right now?
Man,
are you smoking that dope now?
I'm flying, brother. I just want to do all weird voices this episode. In the crowd that I ran around with, there was this story, and it's an urban legend, right? Like, I don't think it's true. But the story was...
one of the crowds you ran around with.
My drug crowd. And there was only one of my drug crowds. Let's calm down. There was a story, and I think it's an urban legend that a lot of different, like, groups have, where somebody's like, oh, man, I never want to do acid because a guy I knew, took acid one time, and he thought that he turned into an orange juice. Yeah, man, he was scared. He thought that if you would push him over, he would dump out and die.
I didn't have that urban legend.
Okay, well, I did, so I wouldn't do acid because I was terrified that I would think that I was a glass of orange juice. And I was worried someone was going to spill me out.
I'm so glad that scared you enough.
Yeah, but man, shrooms, bloop, like candy. Don't do drugs, kids.
Don't.
Yeah, they're not good for you. But, you know.
Because if you do shrooms like Jake, you're going to find yourself staring in a mirror forever.
Somebody told me, they said, when you do shrooms, do not look in the mirror.
So
and the
you did.
first thing I did, as soon as I felt a kick in, was go, was I supposed to stare in the mirror?
Oh, God.
Wait, is that a thing?
What I love is...
In my eyes. Here's the thing. If you look in the mirror, turn around right now. The mirror's right behind you.
Okay.
So look in the mirror. Now move your head, but look into your eyes. It's not weird, right?
No.
Because your eyes don't move because you're locking your eyes on each other. Well, if you're high and you're doing that, you're like, why won't my eyes move? So then in my mind, I'm like, I'm just my eyes, and my body's the shell. And I'm like, the shell just moves around.
I don't have any of these stories.
Man.
At all.
I say it like, I like how I romance drugs, you know? But there's no possible way I could ever even come close to doing any of them.
Good.
No,
I like that. Don't do it.
I'm not gonna. Drugs are not good.
Drugs are bad. Okay?
This has been a PSA about
Right.
not doing drugs.
What were we talking about?
We're talking about people turning into orange juice.
No. We talked about your shows. How did we get on that kick?
Hey, man. Hey, wherever the podcast takes us.
That's where we go. We didn't talk about what I have coming up.
You do this every third podcast.
But you know, nobody
Chia,
ever cares.
what do you have coming up?
Work.
Jeez.
That's it.
It's a running gag that makes me puke. Sometimes you gag and it stays as a gag. And eventually, if you keep gagging, you'll
hurl.
puke.
Remember when we thought about naming one of
Hurley.
our kids Hurley, and your
And
mom
Mom.
hated it. She's like, "Don't you do it? Don't you name him after puke?"
So instead, I named my son. I look like me. I look like the biggest drug addict who ever lived. Doing a podcast that the first 20 minutes has been about drugs. But I'm not. I'm sober.
Yeah.
They're going to kick me off the sobriety show. And we named my son a Holden.
What's wrong with that?
You don't get that?
No, Holden.
Okay. Oh my gosh. Our son is almost a teenager, and you don't get the drug reference to his name being Holden.
Ah, I get it now.
Hey man, are you Holden? Yeah. Do you have any idea how many times people have asked me if I've named him that because of that?
No.
Oh, at least 3 times.
And what do you tell them? At least 3 times.
I always say, we agreed on it because I like the name from Kevin Smith movies, and Chia likes the movie from Catcher in the Rye.
The name from Catcher in the Rye.
What'd I say, the movie?
Yes,
Catcher in the Rye?
yeah.
I'm on dope.
We've established this. I don't know
It's
if
the
there's
dopiest
even...
episode yet.
I'm sure there is a movie of it, but I need to reread the book.
That's one of the books, so that's in our bathroom, and I read that book when I go to the bathroom and forgot my book. So I'm on
Really?
I'm on like page 20 maybe.
Oh, jeez.
I'm just reading it slowly. Speaking of reading,
Yes. Yes.
I've been reading. What have you been reading? Let's
Okay.
start with you.
So, I think last week I had just finished some books. Sorry, I had to clear my throat.
Do it.
Jeez.
Hey, I do the voice.
So, since I was at 8 out of 15 books, I read another quick, romance novel. So now I'm at 9. And then still reading Harry Potter to the kids. I haven't picked out an audiobook. And then the other thing that I'm reading, they started last week, is Ready Player 2. I'm not very far in it. For one, I just read a bunch of books.
Real quick, spoilers. Spoiler warning. We will not give spoilers for very many things. Mm-hmm. With books, it's a very good possibility we'll give spoilers. If we do give spoilers, we will tell you right before it happens.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
Yes.
So spoiler alert right now for Ready Player 2. Just a heads up, spoiler alert.
Yes.
We are going to spoil the beginning of that book right now.
Okay.
How far are you
I'm
into
only
it?
like 30 pages in.
That means nothing to me.
I think I'm on chapter 2, maybe.
Okay, for the love of Pete, I don't know what happens on page 30 or chapter. Tell me the storyline, lady.
He got the...
I've been reading it for about 2 hours.
I really don't like explaining things because I'm so bad at it.
I just want to know where it's at. What happened? What's happened so far?
He's made a bunch of money.
Okay.
Off those the new
Yeah, Omni.
Is it?
I don't know. That was the word in the book that I had an issue with pronouncing because I was like, is it like
Oni or
Oni, something like that? I think it's Oni.
That
or Ani. Oni or Ani.
He's currently he's starting to offer a reward for finding the 7 shards.
Okay, so he's not found anything yet.
No.
Okay.
No, someone just did. I think literally just found the first one for him.
And emailed him.
Yes.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay. So.
Yeah, don't tell me anything. I'm not going to.
We'll wait till you're done.
Here's the thing with this book. I'm having an issue with this. So, I started to read this book, and sometimes when I first start reading a book, it goes kind of slow until I get into the first 100 pages. Then I can't put it down.
Right.
This book in particular is hard for me because I take my books to work. And I came home a few days ago, and we have a table in our living room. I put down, said
Why
hi
would
to
you
my
bring
mom.
this up?
I'm sorry. I had to explain it. Said hi to my mom. She's sitting on the couch watching TV with her big, huge dog laying next to her. I come in the bedroom for something, then I go take a shower. I come out, and I go to grab my book, and I'm like, shoot, it's not there. I must have taken it in the bedroom. And I come look in the bedroom, it's not here. I go back out and look at the table. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to have to go all the way out to the car because I must have forgot it out there. And as I pass by the couch one more time to head to the front door, I look down and my mom's big King Corso is just rah, 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 like gnawing on this book.
What was she doing?
She was watching TV, but he wasn't he wasn't making a big scene about it. Like, you wouldn't have known. He was doing it just, so casually.
Don't start backpedaling.
Stop. He's just a boy. And I know I put the book on the back table. So he just casually walked over, grabbed the book, and laid down. Here's the thing that really sucks, okay? Now, I don't want any book chewed up. However, The Princess Bride has been laying on a table in the living room for 2 weeks.
The difference is the binding. This was a hardcover.
That's probably why.
That is a paperback.
It's more attractive to him.
Yeah, he wanted to show on that. It made me mad. That was a gift from you, and even though you can rebuy another one,
it's not that book.
Yeah, it's frustrating to me.
And here's my thing is I'm gonna buy a new one, because
get a paperback.
They don't come in paperback yet.
They do too. I looked.
When did that happen?
Like 3 or 4 days ago. I don't know.
Well, I'll get a paperback.
I want one that goes with my paperback.
This one is just gonna have to sit somewhere because unless pages are missing and things are falling out, I will get physically sick if I throw a book away.
Oh no! The nice thing is that the dust jacket was not on it.
Yeah.
So we can still put the dust jacket on it, and it'll look good on the shelf. Yeah. So it's fine. But that's why I say get me a paperback, because the paperback can go with my paperback version of the other one.
Jeez, you're so pushy.
Well, just look at the publication on that one and make sure it's the same edition. That way they look good on the shelf. So Ready Player Two, yeah. What else?
So the other thing I want to get, I think I'm gonna have to go to the library to get it. We talked last week about themes, and Jake had to bring it up to me that was Women's History Month. So I started to try to figure out a book, and there is a book about Florence Nightingale that I want to get, which I thought would be perfect as a Christian, as a nurse, and as a woman. I think it would be a really good biography to read. I wanted it to be an audiobook, but it's not, so I'm going to go to the library now that they're open again. So that's my book journey as of right now.
I am still reading I feel weird saying this, but I don't know what else to call it. I think it's just a trash sci-fi novel.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just a throwaway sci-fi novel.
Yeah.
Like, it's not part of a series. I've never heard of this book before. I've never heard of the author. I literally went to Half Price Books randomly chose a book off the
It's
sci-fi.
fun to do that.
Yeah, it was a dollar book. I just
Yeah.
grabbed a skinny paperback book, and I think it's like 200 pages, maybe 150 pages. I just grabbed it, and I'm 47% through it. And it's okay. It's very futuristic. So it's about this guy who lives in the steppe, like Genghis Khan. And he's like tribal, like primitive kind of, but he's like his tribe is more civilized than all the other tribes. Something happens to where he's in a battle, he goes to jump this canyon, falls into the canyon, and right before he dies, people from the future kind of zap him to the future. And in the future, there is a game, basically, that is, you enter the game and you play through history. So you become a historical figure like Genghis Khan or someone like that.
Okay.
But it's usually like not that many famous historical figures. It's somebody who like you kind of know who they are, but they're not that famous. So that way you don't know exactly what happened in the history, because you have to play the game, and if you play it correctly, if you play through as if the way that these historical events happened, then you become like rich and famous and stuff like that.
If you're a history buff, then that's a great game for you.
Well, the issue is in the future, no one reads anymore. In the future, they're illiterate because all the computers do everything for you, so you don't have to read anymore.
What's that one movie? Idiocracy.
Yeah, but they're not stupid because they're just
uneducated.
No, they're illiterate. They don't have to read. Computers read to them, so they don't have to read. So none of them know how to read because they don't have to. They watch it all. Like books are cartoons basically. So they would just watch it. But this book, I'm pretty sure, was like written in the 70s or something like that. It seems like 70s or early 80s or something. But yeah, it's getting decent.
Nice.
So the only thing is like this guy, it's very creative the way that the author made it work, because basically this guy goes to the future. Why is because members of the game found a way to bring people back from the past to quiz them and cheat the game. So they're going to bring him, ask him questions about his moment in history, because right now the game is playing through that moment in history. So that way they can basically cheat in the game.
Gotcha.
But then they put a helmet on him to kind of make him like that gives him all the information of what's happened. And it just like it's neat that the author did that so that way this guy can become a part of the future. But it's also like it's just weird to me that he just takes it so well. He's just like, oh yeah, okay, well these horses are actually spaceships, and I don't know, but it's a decent book. That's the only one I'm really reading right now because I want to get through it to move to the next one. Nice. But it's something that like I took a shot, just took a chance, and I'm happy with the way it's turning out. I looked on Goodreads and it was only getting like 3 stars, and it's probably a 3-4 star book. It's not great, but it's definitely just kind of like an okay book to just kind of read and throw away. So that's all I've really been reading. And then as far as like the shows we've been watching, so we just finished WandaVision.
Yes.
I hear people still to this day. I just talked to someone the other day, and he's like, I couldn't get into that. He's like, I couldn't get into WandaVision. I'm like, dude, give it another shot. Like, just give it another chance. I promise it's good, and it really is. I didn't really care. It ended okay. There was one thing that frustrated me, and I'm not going to do any spoilers on that at all because it literally just happened, so I'm not going to. But it is what it is. But
we just discovered a wonderful new reality.
Before we get into that,
sorry,
because I want to talk about that last.
Okay.
Because it'll lead into our topic of the show.
Okay.
I don't think I talked about the Blu-ray set that I bought.
Oh, I don't think so.
So I bought a box set of the Universal Monsters. So it's got Dracula, Frankenstein, Bride of Frankenstein, Wolfman, Invisible Man, Phantom of the Opera, Creature from the Black Lagoon, and I'm missing one. It's right behind you. I can't remember what the other, because there's 8 of them in total. What one am I? Mummy. The Mummy. I always forget the Mummy every time. I don't know why.
You're a terrible human being.
So here's the cool thing about these. I've only watched a few of these. I've not watched them all. I've never watched The Invisible Man. I've never watched The Mummy.
I don't think I've ever seen any of these.
Creature from the Black Lagoon, I distinctly remember watching whenever I was a kid. Mm-hmm. And I loved it whenever I was a kid. It was like one of my favorite monster movies. And still to this day, I just rewatched it because I read an article about it. It is so good. Mm-hmm. It's in this Blu-ray box set. It's beautifully done. Like it is just it's such a good movie. We'll watch one of the other ones tonight. How's that sound?
Okay, I like that.
Because it's kind of late.
Phantom of the Opera is the only one in color.
It's 2:30 in the morning. I'm not playing a game tonight.
What?
Sorry. So I'm working my way through that because I can't. I literally was just told in an email I'm not allowed to talk about it, but there's just a cool thing that I'm doing right now with some articles that I'm excited about. But yeah, if you like monster movies or creature features at all, this box set was great. I think it was like $70, maybe something like that, and it's just called the Essential Collection: Universal Monsters or Universal Classic Monsters, the Essential Collection, and it's great. I love it so much. I really like old sci-fi movies though. And monster movies. I really like them. There's a lot of cracking going on this table. So just don't ever touch it again.
I watched Predator too.
What'd you think of that? I fell asleep watching
it.
Yeah, I've watched it a few times, but it's been years.
I mean, I always want Predator to win.
Yeah, you're a Predator fanatic.
I mean, those humans should just stay out of the way. They're doing their business. They need those spinal cords. So, you should have stayed awake, though, because there's a scene where he puts the skull on, like, an altar. Mm-hmm. He puts a human, and you said, I wish there would have been a close-up because it looked like some other skulls.
Did it show it?
It did.
Later? Okay, cool.
And there's other creatures there.
Yeah.
And one in particular.
Oh, is it an alien?
Yeah.
Okay. This movie's from like the 80s. I think it came out in 1980.
I wanted you to guess.
Or 1990. It came out in 1990.
It was for you to guess.
Oh, okay. Cool.
And you did, so good job.
Nice, yeah. Well, it's not called an alien. They're called xenomorphs.
Xenomorphs, yes.
I think.
But they're
that
from
sounds right.
The movie.
Alien. Yeah. Speaking of which, did we talk about playing that game last week?
No. Well, because we played it after.
Oh my gosh, guys. That Alien game that we played last week was the dopest game I think I've ever played.
I really enjoyed it. I still...
Holy cow.
We'll have to play it again because as of right now, DC is still my favorite deck building game.
Oh, really? This one was mine.
So this game, it's Legendary Encounters, Aliens, and it's a deck building game. And it's really cool because you can play through all 4 movies. The issue is all the cards are mixed together. I guess it was the manufacturing cost that it was cheaper to do like this. So you have to go through and separate all the decks.
And it's not easy to learn how to do just based off of the manual. So if for anyone who buys this game and you're curious on the best way to do it, go to BoardGameGeek.com, type in the search bar Legendary Encounters Aliens, and then click on Files. And if you scroll down on Files, it'll say Card Sorting. Yeah. Click on that, and it'll give you like detailed images on how to sort the cards correctly. But we didn't do that until we'd already been trying to figure it out for an hour.
We actually thought that we mixed the decks up. We were so confused.
Right.
So between trying to figure out the game, sorting the cards, and then playing the game, it was about 3 hours. I think the game is actually only maybe 45 minutes to an hour.
I think that sounds right.
Depending on how long you want to play.
Now, here's a cool thing about the game, too, is that it's 1 to 5 players. I think 5.
Yeah.
I feel like it said 1 to 5. But it's, so which means it's a solo game. And we like solo games because every now and then I really want to play a board game, but Chia's at work and she's, I'll play with the kids sometimes. Holden is usually pretty good at it, and Jasmine is too. Roman's still a little too young.
He's getting there.
But sometimes I just want to kind of play. Yeah, I know. Sometimes I just kind of want to play by myself. Yeah. And you're a prevert. You're just a prevert. How old are you? And no one can say. You're the one that laughs at it out of this duo.
Say it again. Say it again. Shh. It's so funny.
Grow up. Do the podcast.
Oh, me grow
Yeah,
up.
grow up.
All right, so yeah, sometimes I want to play a board game alone, solo, that you can't even see me, solo, and you can't. Not every game's fun to do that with. This one will be.
Yeah.
Because you really feel like you're playing through the movie. It's really fun. It's a very unique way of doing it. It is a little expensive for the game. I think it's about $70, and it's worth it though.
Yeah.
Because here's my thing with board games. Because I'll tell people sometimes how much we spend on board games, and I'm like, yeah, the game was like $50-$60, something like that, and they're like, man, that's a lot of money for a board game.
That's normal.
I'm like, how much do you spend on video games?
Right, exactly.
And they're like, well, yeah, but the replayability. And I'm like, I play all my board games multiple times.
Yes.
And not just that, but some of them, like, a video game's one thing, but it's hard to take a video game over to anyone's house and play.
Like,
now, I could take a video game over to, like, Chris's house or, like, a couple of my buddies that play video games. I could take a video game over there and we could sit down and play. But if it's, like, a party...
Yeah.
No one's going to, for the most part, most people aren't going to want to just sit and watch one person play a video game, or two people play, or at most like 4. But a board game,
oh yeah,
especially with some of the ones that we have.
Well, a lot of them have expansions too. Like you got Disney's Villainous, that the main Villainous game I think has 6
something like that.
6 characters I think, but there's expansions, so we have 2 of them. At this time right now, we could play Villainous with a total of at least 12 people.
Yeah, I would not want to do that. That sounds horrible.
It'd be a long game.
That doesn't even sound fun to me.
I don't know.
No, it doesn't.
I don't know.
So...
Or Betrayal.
Betrayal would be fun with like 5 people.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like if you get past 5 or 6, it's not going to be as fun. Because whoever becomes the traitor... There's too many people for them to fight off.
That's true.
So it wouldn't be fun. I think 4 people in that game. I think 3 or 4 people is like perfect for that game.
Yeah.
Personally, and man, that's such a good game.
It is a good game.
Yeah.
Those
If you're looking,
if
if you're somebody who listens to this podcast and you're like, man, I kind of want to get into modern day board gaming. There it is. I always try to think of a good way of saying it. I always say like elite gaming, but it's not really it. It's modern day board gaming.
Yeah.
If you're somebody who wants to get into it, Betrayal at House on the Hill is probably a good game to start with. Actually, a better one, if you like Universal Monsters...
Horrified is great.
There's a game called Horrified that is really, really good at teaching you kind of the mechanics of modern day board gaming. There's like a learning curve to it, but it's easy to learn. And then once you do, it kind of builds your confidence to learn other games that are pretty hard.
And this might sound dumb, but I don't care. If you're the type of person that really hates losing to other people, it's good because it's a co-op game.
It's a co-op game. You play together.
So either you lose together or you win together.
Oh, dude, I didn't tell you this.
What?
I don't think I told you. What? I found on BoardGameGeek.com.
Yeah.
I found it's basically an expansion to Horrified.
Really?
Somebody made character cards, and then you can buy like miniature figures for them and everything. But they have the character cards and everything that goes along with it that you can print off on like cardstock. They have Jason Voorhees. They have Freddy Krueger.
Is it a standalone or is it an expansion?
You can play the game with these characters because the thing with Universal Monsters is you choose which monster you're fighting.
Yeah.
So it's just extra monsters that you can put on the board. So instead of fighting Dracula, because this Horrified's just like the movies I just talked about earlier, that's what they are. But this adds in more modern day monsters. So The Fly is one of them from the movie The Fly. And then Pennywise was one of them. So a lot of them are like, there's Pinhead.
Weak monsters.
Huh?
They're just weak.
I really want the Jason Voorhees one.
I mean, we'll get it and we'll play it.
Yeah, because
and we'll kill him because come on.
You can only kill him at the camp.
If I can
it's pretty cool.
If I can kill Dracula, I can kill him.
No, for sure. But I'm just saying it's pretty cool.
I'm just saying.
I'm saying
Why
it
do we
too.
say that all the time?
I'm just listening. Oh man. Okay, so that's what we've been.
Our age do. I'm just saying.
Probably.
I don't know.
I don't really talk to people our age. I don't know anyone.
I don't either.
I just live in this room. That's what we've been doing. Let's have a little. Speaking of just living in a room, let's do a little mental health check-in.
Okay,
Just a
mental
real
health
quick.
check-in.
How's Chia's mental health?
I'm doing really, really good lately.
Yeah?
I went a few weeks without going to get a spray tan, and I kept just saying it's because I'm too busy, but really, I just felt blah, and I didn't want to do anything. The weather being nicer has helped a lot. I've had a lot of really, really good nights at work. Even if they're busy, I've had really good nights, and that's been helpful. We have gotten into more of a routine here at home. That's helpful. And today I finally felt like going and doing something for myself. That's the bad thing about like when your mental health's affected is you know that doing something for yourself will help, but you don't have the energy to do anything for yourself. Mm-hmm. And then you feel worse.
And for anyone listening that's just like, oh, your mental health causes you not to go tanning, oh, whatever, grow up.
That's true. That does sound petty of me.
It does, but if you knew Chia, you would know.
It's like the one thing I do.
It's not so much about her going tanning as it is that she is focusing on herself.
Yeah.
So it's not the act of tanning, although that does, like the warmth and everything does help her. Which, no, you get a spray tan now. You don't even actually, you don't even go to the tanning bed anymore. It's just the fact that you're spending time for yourself. Yeah. You're doing self-care.
Yeah, it's not
regardless of what self-care is, it's self-care. When I go to the game store, it is retail therapy. Mm-hmm. That's a form of self-care for me.
Yeah.
When I go for a hike by myself in the woods and I stop and I meditate for 20 minutes, it's the same feeling when I'm done for the most part. Usually whenever I meditate, it's a little bit different. I feel like a little bit more clear-headed. Mm-hmm. But like to me, it's all self-care.
Yeah, for me it's unless I have to go do something. Mm-hmm. I don't want to leave the house. I'm like, okay, well, either I'm going to go to work or I have to go to the store or something. So today, actually being like, no, I get to leave and I get to go do something for myself.
Yeah.
It only takes about, it's like 20 minutes. And it was a stop before errands. Like right after that, I picked up our groceries. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't like
but it's just nice that you did it.
But I took 20 minutes out for myself.
Yeah. See, my issue is that I've not been doing that.
Yeah.
I've not gone to the gym in 3 weeks now. It's going on 3 weeks.
Just paying for a membership for no reason.
I know. I'm going tomorrow. I have to go tomorrow while the kids are at school. I just have to.
Yeah.
I like going around like 11 or noon because then I can go for a couple hours and then go pick the kids up right afterwards.
Yeah.
I do like doing that. The issue is there's so many people in there whenever I do it that way. So that's what.
If you can go in the evening time and no one else is there, it's nice.
Yes. That's my favorite time to go. So as far as my mental health, it's been good. I still have been doing exercises at home. Mm-hmm. It's just not the same because I'm still in my own environment. Mm-hmm. It's just nice to get out of my own environment. But it's been good. I have been feeling a lot better. I actually, speaking of mental health, I did want to talk about this. I wanted to tie this in a little bit. So a few weeks ago, we talked about how for my birthday, Chia took me to Cerritos. Mm-hmm. And it's here in Bloomington, Indiana. It is a fantastic place. I really, really love it. They have like oxygen bar. They have massages. They have saunas. They have my favorite thing. There's the floats. And we'll be going back this month. We're gonna try to make it a monthly thing for now.
Yeah.
So we're planning our trip this month to go. Well, we talked about it. Back in February, we talked about us going and everything. I got a really, really nice message from the owner of the company that was just basically like, hey, I heard your podcast. Really, really appreciate the shout out. And we just kind of talked for a little bit. I was like, yeah, man, of course. Like, it's a great place. I mean, I meant every word. If it was a dump, I would have said that place sucked. But he was just a really, really nice guy. We kind of hit it off a little bit in the messages. He's got a podcast he's thinking about doing. He wants to do one. He's got all the equipment to do it. But he's just trying to get started. So I actually went and hung out with him Friday. Mm-hmm. And just kind of spent the afternoon with him, him and a friend of his. And we just kind of just got to know each other a little bit and had a chat. And he is going to be on the podcast. So
Nice.
we
That'll be
don't
fun.
do that a lot. We don't have a lot of like guests on or anything
The
like
only
that.
guests we've had is our children.
Well, I did have Ricky Glore on
Oh, that's right.
early on, and I also have an interview with Ryan Niemiller, but the audio's messed up, and I'm still trying to figure out how to fix the audio. He probably forgot all about it because it was so long ago, but no, we would take the equipment to this guy, and probably in his office there and that sort of and just do it there. But he is a mental health counselor, and great guy to talk to. And I told him that I'd be interested in having him on just to talk with people about what they can do personally to just increase their mental health and just overall happiness in their life. And he was really into it. So hopefully we're going to have him on, and then we can talk him into starting his own podcast and kind of go from there. So he's a great guy. Really, really happy. Speaking of happy things, let's thank our Patreon subscribers.
Thank you.
Thank you to everyone who supports us on Patreon. And we do have a few people, and they're family, and we love them.
Yes.
And they're amazing. So Danielle, thank you. Rachel, thank you. Fawn, thank you. Shan, thank you. Lindsay, thank you. Pam, thank you. And Jared, thank you.
Thank you.
We love you guys because of your support and because of all that you do. Chia has a new microphone on the way.
I do.
It'll
be a while.
I keep saying you have a new microphone because this one's mine.
Yeah.
And I figured you should get the nice, new, pretty, shiny thing.
I do.
So, yeah. So it'll be here in a couple weeks.
Shiny and chrome.
Yeah. We are excited about it because it just is going to enhance. Because I'm sure people have heard before, like sometimes one of us could sound far away. Sometimes maybe one of us sounds like way too loud. One of us sounds way too quiet. It'll help us to be able to balance those levels out and everything. So thank you very much for your support. If you want to help out the show, if you like the show and you want to help us, because it does cost us a little bit of money to do, but it'll always be free. We'll never charge you to listen to it because we really enjoy doing it and we love the people that we've met doing it. But if you do want to support us, if you want to help us out, there is a safe and wonderful way to do it. It is patreon.com/laughandbeblessed. And Patreon is just a website that is set up to help support artists. It's safe, it's easy. There are 3 different ways you could do it. $3 a month, $10 a month, $20 a month. And there's different perks for each level, some of which is a free t-shirt. And we have t-shirts that are being made up right now for our Patreon supporters. Thank you very much. Jared's is already made.
Oh.
Yeah, it's in the car, and I just got to get it to him. So,
nice.
Thank you everybody for everything that you do. We love you very, very much. You're wonderful. So one other thing that we have been watching ties into the tots.
The tots.
Topic of the show.
How far in are we? We're killing people.
I think they're used to it by now. They're like, these people are going to ramble.
They just ramble.
They're going to ramble.
We should fast forward a little bit.
We should get our new friend who did our intro to see if he can do like a topic of the show.
That'd
like
be
just
cool.
like topic of the show. Like just something cool.
Tots.
Just real quick though. Just like a
Yeah.
bumper. Just like not that. Maybe like a banjo. Like no, okay, not that. Okay, anyways, topic of the show. Topic of the show is hobbies that we don't have time for. So these are hobbies that we really, really wish we could do, but we just don't have the time for, or we are focused on other things. What made me think of this is the other show that we've been watching. We just found it today and watched
Jake
the whole
watched
first
the
season.
whole thing. I
Chia
missed
went
a
to
couple
work.
episodes.
Yeah.
I went tanning and grocery shopping, and I went to work. And during this time, my husband watched an entire season of.
I started before you went to work, not before you went tanning.
No.
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Jake. No, there's no way. Aren't they hour-long episodes?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
Regardless, maybe I watched one episode.
Yeah,
and then you left.
took a nap. So
And then I watched Wheel of Fortune.
So yeah, because
That's true. That's what made me want to watch Wheel of
Yes.
Fortune because it's a game show.
'Cause
Anyways, let's get
What?
into it. Go ahead. Say what you wanted to say.
No, you talk.
Oh.
So the show we're watching is called.
What's it called, Chia?
Is it Lego Masters?
You asking or telling?
Both. I'm telling if I'm right. I'm asking if I'm wrong.
The show we've been watching is called Lego Masters on Fox.
I told you.
You cretin. It is the best competition show I've ever seen. We like competition shows. We like Chopped. Chopped was my favorite, reality show, competition show style show. I'm just gonna say show a bunch. Chopped is fantastic. I love that show. I've watched hours of Chopped. Mm-hmm. Man, I wish Chopped would have been on, or I at least would have had access to Chopped back when I did drugs.
No, I knew what you were gonna say.
Yeah.
No, I don't.
I feel like that is the perfect stoner show.
I have watched a show about food one time with you when you were high. One time. Why haven't they made the French toast? Because they talked about it 2 episodes ago.
It was just a second ago in my mind. All right, so this Lego show is amazing. Will Arnett is the host. He's so funny. Job. It's Job. It's George Oscar Bluth. And he's so funny. But not just that. The crazy sculptures that these people make with Legos is insane.
Yes.
It's such a great show. So it's on Hulu right now. The first season's on Hulu. Or Fox. The Fox Now app also has it. The second season is supposed to come out this year sometime. I'm very, very, very excited for it. This is like my new favorite show, reality show. I love it so much.
I guess I should have realized that it wasn't recorded this year because nobody was wearing masks.
Yeah, and they hugged a lot. Yeah. And then at the last episode, everybody was in that tiny room.
Yeah,
and it's like,
that should have been...
So it made me think though, like, man, there's so many hobbies I wish I could do, but I just feel like I don't have the time for. Because right now... Time or space is a big one, yeah. Space is a big one. Or money. Like, there's a bunch of things that go into it. So let's get it started.
Okay.
And we'll start with the obvious one that's probably on both of our lists.
Yeah.
So we'll start with Legos.
Legos.
So tell me...
Lego, apparently.
Lego.
Legos.
Yeah, it's the plural of Lego is Lego.
Lego. So as a kid, I played Lego all the time. Mm-hmm. I had the big bucket. My mom bought me the Lego house, which I loved. Of course, the Lego house was the girl version.
I prefer all my Legos to be virgins, actually.
Version, and I think the boy version was the castle. That's what I wanted. I wanted the boy stuff. But the house worked, I guess.
The castle sounds way cooler.
Yeah, but I got the house. And I remember the house so well because me and my sister, Amber, we had a bad habit of looking at Christmas presents early. The first phone we got for our bedroom we shared, we totally opened it and like unwrapped it. But we were so careful with the tape that we just taped it right back. And
that's why I don't get my kids presents.
We continued to play around and be like, oh, maybe it's a brick, because it was in a rectangle, like, box, but we totally knew what it was.
Oh, so you guys not only were deceiving, but you're also just liars.
Yeah, I learned early.
Yeah.
So with my Lego house, what happened was Mom had her out the presents, and she put them out in the living room, and she would always do it early. And I forget what we were doing. We were moving something, and the back of it ripped. And I could see what it was. So I made sure that part was always facing the back so she wouldn't know that I knew. And my mom never lied to us. So we were at Sam's Club, and they had it there. And I was like, Mom, will you get me this for Christmas? Seeing what she'd say. Because I knew that she couldn't lie.
Yeah.
And her response was, now why would you want that? Hurry up. I was like, what, you witch of a woman? How'd you get away with that?
You saw through it.
Like our upstairs landing was always full of Lego. Like I would have them spread out, and they had like this whole
You had the perfect place for Legos.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't have that. You had the
sorry.
perfect place. Where I played with Lego for the most part was at my grandma's house. Mm-hmm. I had a bunch at my house too, and I know I played with them at my house. I just remember Grandma's house more, Grandma Ruble. I remember her house more because it was one of the only things to do at her house. And she always had the green flat piece.
I had one of those.
And I never had those. Never had them at home. So Grandma had it at her house. So then I would build like houses, and that was the yard.
Was it like the flimsy one, or,
no, it was
the hard one?
It was a hard one.
Yeah.
And I just basically made a yard and just built a house.
Yeah.
Is what I would do every single time. Yeah. And man, but it had me thinking like. Watching the show, we've missed out on so many Lego kits because they didn't really have Lego kits that I remember.
Yeah.
As a kid, they probably did.
I think they were like slowly starting, but they didn't have a lot.
But I couldn't afford them.
They didn't have like the little Lego people either because I used to pretend that the skinnier Legos that were just like one pegs, those were my people.
Gotcha.
So that I used all of those to be the people. So if it was like one brick with like just the one dot, those were babies. And if they had 2 dots, they were little like kids. 3 dots were like teenagers. 4 dots were the adults.
Oh, yeah. Look at you.
I know.
Imagination. You do have a great imagination.
I had one that a dog had chewed on, and I swear to God, it was a disabled kid. I couldn't get rid of it. I could not because it was a person to me, I swear. So it was just a little disabled boy. I don't know. I couldn't.
Where's it at now? Heartless.
They're all gone.
Yeah, exactly.
I killed them all. Well, I mean.
Actually, we got them back, didn't we?
I don't know.
Because I don't know what happened to him, but I feel like Haley had him. We gave him to Haley. And then at one point, Haley.
I would have gave him to her.
Yeah, but I think at one point, Haley gave him back.
Okay, so they might be upstairs.
Yeah, I feel like Haley gave him back at one point.
Is that weird that I did that I wouldn't get rid of a
No, I think it's great. I think you're a sweetheart. I think you're wonderful. But we were talking, and I was like, let's start getting Lego kits and building them. We have no room in our room.
Oh, no.
There's just no place to put. We have comic books and video games and records and
baskets
books
of laundry
and a bed. I don't know. We should start sleeping on our clothes.
What if... No, hear me out.
A Lego bed.
A hide-a-bed. Like, what if our bed, like, folded up to the wall? Stop. It's a good idea.
No, I'm not doing any of that. So Lego is the first one. So that's the first hobby that we both agree on. We both want to do. And this one we will do because we're going to... Calm down, Chia.
I have so many ideas for the bed now.
No. I love my bed and I'm not getting rid of it.
But we could still kind of use it.
No. I'm getting an office, like a cabin outside office, and part of that, we'll get it like probably next year.
Like my idea happen real fast. So.
Whatever. Whenever we do that, we talked about it. We're gonna have a studio in there. It's gonna be my where I write, and also where we build Legos together and play board games. So I'm excited about that. So Chia, what is your second hobby that you would love?
So my second hobby is I would love to do puzzles more.
Oh, okay.
And I never thought about this, but I'm always like, oh, we'll get a puzzle, then we'll glue it together, and then do I want to hang a puzzle up?
Well, you just frame it.
But I'm like, do I want to go through all that trouble for?
Right.
So, for one, we can never do them very often because we never have enough space.
Yeah.
Like if we put it on the back table, some dog might get it or something, or the kids drop a piece or something. I was talking to someone the other day that she does puzzles with her kids. And it was Rachel at work. And when they're done, they box it back up and donate it. And I'm like, what a good idea. Just pass the puzzle along. Why? Because you're a collector.
I can't help it. I don't want to get rid of it. If I put it together, I want to look at it and be like, I put that together. I want to look at it and be like, I put that together.
I could pass it along. I can do it.
I don't like it. Because I love puzzles. I really love puzzles.
Yeah.
I put one together a couple years ago, that Matrix one.
It was all black.
Yeah, it was hard. And I was very proud of it whenever I was done.
I feel like that was when I first started night shift.
Mm-hmm. It was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you were watching Sopranos.
So, I want to... I want to do woodworking.
Yeah, you've talked about that.
Yeah, I would love to just do, like... I have a wood burning kit that... my mom's boyfriend let me borrow to just try to like start doing stuff. And I've messed with it a little bit, but I just never really have the time to really get into it, or space, unfortunately. But like that and whittling wood, like I really would love. I want to make a little wizard. Like I just want to whittle a wizard.
Whittle wizard.
I just a little lizard. I want to say it again. Say whittle. Say whittle wizard.
Whittled wizard.
Say it again.
Sound like one of our kids when they were like 2. A whittled wizard.
I just want to whittle wizard, Dad. So yeah, woodworking's one that I really wish I had time for, and eventually, whenever I do have time, that's probably going to be one of the first hobbies that I do, other than Legos. Like this is probably. Nah, there's no rhyme or reason. These are just stuff. So what's yours?
So these other 4 are things I do, but I want to do more of. This one is canning and gardening. I helped last year, but I didn't can at the extent I wanted to. I wasn't in the garden as much as I wanted to. So I really want more time for that this year. I really want to get into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think that'd be a really good one.
Yeah.
My next one is one that I've promised you almost every year that I'm going to take you to go do. And then we never are able to.
Oh, I know what it is.
I really want to get into canoeing.
I do too.
So I've been canoeing. I've been canoeing a couple times, and I really, really enjoy it. It is one of the most peaceful feelings, and I've only done it on a river. So we put in at the White River, and then we'll just float all day down the river, and it is so nice and peaceful and relaxing. You just have lunch. You find a sandbar, and you just have lunch right there on the river, and I just love it, and I really want to do it more. And this year, I say it every year, but this year I really want us to try to make a point to actually go canoeing. Even if we just, like we've talked about, go to Turkey Run State Park and just rent canoes there or something. So canoeing, I want to do.
I think that would be good to do first anyways before we spend money on one.
Yeah, just to make sure you like it.
This is one that I'm already doing a lot of, but I just want to keep it fresh, is books. Fresh is books. Not just...
This doesn't count.
Yes, it does.
No, you're breaking the rules.
Hold on, I'm not.
You read so many books. You've read 9 books.
You're not listening to me.
Bull.
I want to care more about, like, not just reading them, but where I, like, my storage space for them, like my shelves, and how they're organized, and just actually collecting them.
I got you.
Yeah, if you just shut up and listen.
Well, that's a rude thing. That's a rude thing to say to me.
It's a rude thing to say. I break rules. I don't break rules. I bend them to my will, but I don't break them.
You are bending a little too far, though, because these are supposed to be hobbies we don't have time for.
I don't have time to organize the bookshelf.
That's why you kept saying space, because you knew that you were going to cheat.
No.
And you're just like, oh, I don't have the space.
No. And look. We have 2 bookshelves in here. One is covered with books. The other has all of our board games. So when we have space to move those, I will have time and space for books.
All right, my next one.
Run in your mouth.
My next one. I think this is going in order from the ones that I want the most.
Yeah.
My next one is drawing.
Okay.
I love to draw.
You're very good at it.
I've been told that. I always feel like it's trash.
I don't think you spend enough time on it.
Yeah. Because there's been a couple of them that I've spent like a few days on, and then beautiful. I'm really happy with it. But they, like the first 2 or 3 hours of drawing, is figuring it out for me. It's like just figuring out what am I even drawing. Even if I have an idea, if I'm like I'm gonna go into it with this, the first couple hours is just a foundation that I'm laying. And I don't feel like I can dedicate that kind of time to something that I'm just like, what am I going to get from this? At the end of it, I could just be like, hey, look what I drew. Like we have somewhere around here, we have like an entire, like a box just full of art that I did whenever I used to do phone sales. And I would just draw while on the phone all day, 8 hours a day, just draw. I really, really want to get back into it.
Yeah. I want you to.
Well, it's probably not going to happen. So.
Oh, it is too. Stop it.
I love it. I mean, there for a while I talked about doing a comic book. I was supposed to start a comic book a couple times. There for a while I was selling my art. That was kind of nice. That was around Christmas time. It gave us a little bit extra Christmas money. That was cool. People would email me they would just basically commission me to draw. It was a lot of Star Wars.
Yeah.
I remember I sold a lot of Star Wars stuff that people wanted. Somebody wanted me to draw, I feel like Star Fox fighting Link. I drew that. That one got kind of weird, and I had to, like, paste it together. It got real weird, but it ended up being, like, very artistic, and they liked it, so.
Well, good.
All right, what's your next one?
My next one is cooking. So I only cook maybe once or twice a week, and I have to cook. So we either have an idea of what our meals are that week, or sometimes we're actually good and I make out a meal plan.
You make out?
You put out.
Oh, jeez.
What? You put out the meat in the fridge so it can thaw.
Okay.
I don't know.
I feel like that could still be perverted. Come on, wrap it up. That's still perverted.
Oh my god.
That's still perverted. All right, come on.
What do we say here? Anyway.
You can get it.
I used to cook all the time, and I used to get a little creative with things, but I haven't for a long time. Like, I haven't made anything new to us in so long.
But I've been making so many new things.
I know you have, and I'm a little jealous.
I can tell. Because there's been a couple of times that I've made something that I've been really proud of, and you've been like, this is really good, but I could see that in your eyes, you're like, you motherfucker.
Well, like, I just think about when we first got together, when we first got married, I could make spaghetti and grilled cheese, and my spaghetti wasn't even that great, and grilled cheese, and that was about it. And I can cook so many different things now, and at one point, like, everything was so new and experimental. Like, do you remember when I first made meatballs?
Yeah. Oh, trust me, I remember that day.
Or how I used to in the wintertime, like every couple of weeks, make from scratch loaded baked potato soup. Yeah. Like I didn't cheat or cut corners or anything. Like, our baked potatoes were in the oven for like an hour or whatever it takes, and I scooped it all out. I used to take all this time, and I didn't hate a minute of it. I loved it. I love being in the kitchen.
It's kind of how I am now, and that's why whenever I'm in the kitchen cooking and you or your mom come in and start taking over, it makes me mad.
Don't come in the kitchen. Yeah, I know. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and you literally take things out of my hands while I'm cooking.
I'm helping.
No, you're not. You're frustrating is what you are. Don't try to cook my food. And you also don't cook the same way I do. No. I cook very cowboyish.
I know you do.
I cook the way that Uncle Gerald and Dad taught me.
I know.
You just throw the stuff together and season it, and it's going to be good. And it is. And it's good stuff. So, yeah, cooking. Okay, so my next one is airbrushing. I have an airbrush kit. I know, you didn't know about this. I'm not talking like fair, like airbrush t-shirts. No, but I want to start learning how to, and painting the miniatures.
Knew about this. Is that how you did the cabin?
Or no, that's all. I painted all that by hand, and I like doing that a lot. But I have an airbrush kit that I'd like to eventually learn how to use and start painting like miniature figures with that, and then also learn how to do art with it for, like, motorcycle tanks and stuff like that, or helmets.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, I just think that'd be kind of cool, and I have the kit to do it. I just never really mess with it. So, yeah, that's just something I think about every now and then. That one's pretty far down the road, though. Like everything else I've talked about first is, that's what I want to do. Yeah. My last one, are we both on our same? We both only have one more, right? Mm-hmm. I think it's the same one.
Really?
But, yeah, I think it's the same one. Yeah. So,
I don't think so.
My last one was close to being a cheat because I still do it sometimes.
Oh, me too.
But I don't have enough. I don't put in the time that I feel like it.
Maybe
I want to.
Is it something we grew up doing?
3, 2, 1.
Video games. Yes.
Come on.
Yes.
Come on, soulmate.
I miss it so much. Every once in a while, if I'm not working a lot or I just put in an effort to grab the Switch. I mean, I literally can sit in bed and do it while Jake watches TV and the kids play on their Kindles and
You can sit in bed and do it?
Okay. You're getting...
You started this.
No,
you started it.
No.
You started it.
I'm a grown-up.
Yeah, well...
I'm an adult.
Typically, I start it. All right, come on. No, stop that.
Anyways, so I'll play a game for a really long time and either complete it or just get super far in it. And I'll just set it down one day and then I don't pick it up for months.
Because how far did you get in Spyro?
Oh, I'm at the last big boss and I was having trouble beating him. So I was just like, well, it's frustrating me. I'm going to stop for a while. And that particular cartridge has 3 Spyro games on it.
And you're on the first one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I do not want to move on until I beat the big boss on that one.
Oh, of course.
And then Mario 64, I can beat the big boss on that, but I want to be a completionist. And I'm like, you collect stars in this game. I'm like, I don't know, like 95% complete in collecting all the stars. Mm-hmm. So I want to find all the rest. It's the same with Mario Odyssey. I haven't collected all the moons yet, so I did beat the big boss in that one because it'll let you go back and still collect moons. I don't know if Mario 64, if I beat the big boss, which is Bowser, I don't know if it'll let me continue to collect things. Same with Spyro.
Right.
So I'm like, if I beat you, is my game just over? And I didn't 100% it.
Yeah, see, that's my thing too right now is that I really, really want to get into these games. Like, there's a bunch of games I didn't have time to play whenever they came out that I hear great things about. Like Witcher 3 is supposed to be amazing. Never played it.
Yeah.
I've tried to start playing it a couple times, and I can't get into it at this point because I know the time that it takes. Skyrim, I want to replay Skyrim on the Switch.
Yeah.
Because I know it doesn't look as good on the Switch, but I like that I can just play it on the Switch.
Yeah.
And then supposedly there's a new Diablo game that's coming out. Now...
You like very different games than I do.
So Diablo's probably one that is going to be played. That's probably going to be one that'll bring me back in. Because Diablo 3 is one of my favorite games of all time.
But I feel like it will until you're done with that one. And then you won't play for a long time. Like, I want this to be a hobby that I do all the time.
So do I. I mean, that's what sucks is, like, I feel like I'll get into it, but then life obviously just happens. But
gosh, life getting
way
my video
hobbies,
games. Jeez.
The last game that I beat was Breath of the Wild. And I really, really put time into that. And that game was so beautiful, so well done. It was so challenge. It was like the perfect challenge for me because it was challenging enough to where it kept me engaged and would frustrate me sometimes, but it wasn't so hard that I didn't want to play it. Because some games that I play, it's just like, this is so hard, I don't even want to do it. It's not fun for me. And that was such a good game. But like God of War, that came out on the PS4, the kind of like a reboot to it's not really a reboot, but it's like an updated version of God of War. It plays different than the original ones did. I beat all the God of Wars before this one. Yeah. And those were like some of my favorite games. I loved those games. And this one, I cannot get into. And it makes me mad because it's such a good story. It's so beautiful. The gameplay's fine. I don't know what. It's just like, I'm like, man. Like, and sometimes I get scared that I'm getting like too old for video games. I'm serious.
I was getting ready to say, though, actually, like, imagine when our generation is all starting to retire. Like, it's going to be so different.
Yeah.
Because that's going to be our idea of retirement. Like,
just being able to play
my first
video
week
games.
of retirement, I ain't leaving my house. I'm going to sit down and play all the video games I want.
Yeah, and eat Doritos 3D. It's going to be delicious. There's a lot of games that I really want to play. I did play the Tony Hawk's Remastered Pro Skater 1 and 2, and I beat both of those.
Was it awesome?
It was so good.
Yeah.
It was, if you played Tony Hawk back in the day, it was so worth it. I hope that they continue to bring out the remasters because I think I played up until like 5 maybe or something like that. I don't know. There was I can't remember the last one that I really, really got into and then just fell out of, but I loved the Tony Hawk games. And then there was also there was Dave Mirra. Dave Mirra had a BMX game that was dope. I would love to get that one.
You know, in 9 years from this summer, Roman's gonna graduate.
Mm-hmm.
He'll be 18
Hopefully.
in April.
Oh,
He
hopefully.
will stop. And he'll graduate in May in 9 years. And I know our first month, like I'm going to be like, I'm not going to work that first month. And it's going to be nice out. And we're going to be outside at nighttime, sitting around a fire, both with a Switch or whatever new console is out at the time.
Yeah, just closing our eyes. It'll be in our brain.
Don't say that. It's not the Oasis. And just playing our video games as much as we want. We won't be changing out of our pajamas for days on end. We'll be looking at each other and be like, hey, I think it's shower day because we smell.
Basically, you're talking about
smell so bad.
what my life is now.
No. I never tell you when you have to shower.
Yeah. I wish.
I just start saying, ooh, do I smell bad?
I'm in such a weird place because I seemingly have a bunch of time.
But you don't.
But I really don't.
Well, you write a lot.
I have, that, and then the housework, and then the kids and everything. It's like there's still so much for me to do.
Yeah.
And also try to have a job.
And nothing's ever done.
And it never will be.
No.
But I think that's been that's a good place to stop.
I agree.
I mean, we talked about a bunch of things. We talked about how much of a pervert you are. We talked about my dad lying. We talked about snitching on your parents and dare. And we talked about some hobbies and, some other good things. So, I'm happy with it. So, if you like the show, why don't you just join the party on Facebook at Jake Rubel's Blessed Ones. Or anywhere on social media at Indiana Rubel. Like and subscribe. I know that everybody always says, hey, leave a review. But honestly, reviews do so much for the podcast. So wherever you listen to this, leave a review. If you have iTunes, go to iTunes for us. Leave a review there. All that stuff. So we love you guys very much. Have a great week. And just remember to always
laugh and be glad.